Some cases change how the public talks about evidence. The name JonBenét Ramsey still triggers debates decades later. In this episode, we step away from personalities and focus on process, evidence handling, and public narratives. We keep language neutral, avoid graphic detail, and talk about practice, what careful evidence work looks like, how early choices shape years of conversation, and how listeners can evaluate claims responsibly. Begin with a simple frame from broad public reporting. A young child was found deceased in her family's home in Boulder, Colorado, in late 1996. Law enforcement responded, the house became a scene, and an investigation unfolded under intense media attention. Over time, multiple theories circulated. Different agencies and later reviews examined aspects of the case. Legal outcomes and interpretations remain contested in public discussion. Our aim here is not to settle disputes, but to extract lessons about evidence and narrative. Evidence handling starts with the scene. Best practice is to secure the location, limit entry, create a log of who crosses the threshold and when, and document everything before moving anything. Photos, video, sketches, and measurements come first. Items are packaged in clean materials, labeled with unique identifiers, and sealed. Chain of custody begins at the moment of collection and records every transfer, who had the item, when, why, and in what condition. Any break in that chain creates room for doubt later, even if the underlying facts are strong. Contamination control is essential. Scenes in personal residences are complex environments. Family items, visitors, and first responders overlap. Gloves, shoe covers, and scene boundaries reduce transfer. Separate packaging prevents contact between items that may cross-contaminate. When a scene is open to non-investigators too early or when movement occurs before documentation, small details can be lost. In high-profile cases, public scrutiny of these choices lasts for decades. The practical lesson for any agency is to over-communicate the steps taken and to preserve logs. Transparency supports trust when time has passed. Forensic labs bring another layer of discipline. DNA testing has evolved since the 1990s. Early tests required larger samples and produced less discriminating results. Newer methods can detect smaller amounts of DNA, but also increase the risk of detecting background or transfer DNA. Analysts must interpret results in context. How many contributors? What mixture? How likely is transfer given the item's history? A partial profile on a touch surface tells a different story than a clean profile on a protected item. When you hear a claim based on DNA alone, ask about sample type, mixture, and context. Evidence rarely speaks alone. It speaks with the scene and the chain. Public narratives follow their own physics. Early statements, press conferences, and leaks set frames that are hard to dislodge. If a theory is presented with confidence before lab work and full interviews, the public will remember the theory, not the later nuance. Media incentives favor clarity over complexity. Social media adds speed. Responsible communication waits for verified facts and uses precise language. Found, collected, submitted, tested, results consistent with, results inconclusive. Words like proved and solved should be rare. Confirmation bias appears on every side. Investigators, commentators, and audiences form early impressions. Later data tends to be interpreted inside that frame. The antidote is structured skepticism. Agencies can run red team reviews where a separate team evaluates whether alternative explanations fit the known facts. Commentators can use checklists that separate confirmed facts from interpretations. Listeners can write down what would change their minds, which specific result from which credible source would update their view. If no such result exists, the view is not evidence-based, it is identity-based. In complex cases, multiple hypotheses can explain subsets of facts. A disciplined approach maps each hypothesis against the entire set, including inconvenient points. Avoid mosaic logic, assembling many small, ambiguous pieces into a confident picture without weighing each piece properly. Prefer anchor points, timestamps, phone logs, dispatch records, verified movements, and lab reports with documented methods. Ask whether a claim is consistent with the anchors and whether it relies on sources that can be examined. Families under scrutiny deserve care. Public speculation can dehumanize people whose lives are already changed forever. It can also distort memory if witnesses begin to read coverage and internalize narratives. Responsible storytelling anonymizes non-public individuals where possible, avoids graphic descriptions, and declines to repeat unverified claims even if they are widely circulated. Curiosity is not a license to harm. The ethical line is simple. Tell what the record supports. Do not turn living people into characters for entertainment. For listeners trying to evaluate new articles, here is a practical method. Step 1. Check the date and provenance. Is the piece reporting new documents or rehashing old material? Step 2. Look for primary sources, PDFs of filings, lab reports, official statements. Step 3. Locate the chain of custody details for any physical evidence mentioned. Step 4. Identify what is confirmed, what is inferred, and what is opinion inside the piece. Step 5. Compare with a timeline you control. If a claim conflicts with an anchor without explanation, treat it cautiously. Agencies can improve public trust with structured transparency. Publish a redacted timeline that lists major investigative steps and the status of key evidence. Share the laboratory methodologies used, even if specific results must remain sealed. Explain constraints openly, legal thresholds, privacy rules, and why certain details cannot be discussed. When corrections are required, issue them plainly without defensiveness. Clarity is not only for the court. It is for the community that must live with uncertainty. Technology can help, but it cannot compensate for early missteps. Modern scene scanning, better DNA methods, and digital evidence review can squeeze more information from preserved items, yet they work best when the original collection was careful. Where records are missing or handling was imperfect, new tools must be paired with humility in interpretation. Absence of evidence may reflect loss, not innocence or guilt. Precision in language prevents overreach. Let us summarize the lessons that travel beyond this case. Secure and log scenes. Preserve chain of custody. Treat DNA as one voice among many. Communicate cautiously and precisely. Expect and counter confirmation bias with structured reviews. Protect families from unnecessary harm. Prefer anchors over mosaics. When you apply these habits as a reader or a professional, your conclusions may be slower, but they will be sturdier. We close with a quiet thought. Some cases stay open in the public square because they touch deep emotions and because facts are complex. Patience and rigor are not the enemies of resolution. They are the path to it. When we separate what is known from what is guessed and hold space for uncertainty, we honor the person at the center and improve our collective judgment. Next time, we shift to a South African case study of group dynamics and control in the Krugersdorp murders associated with a group, sometimes referred to as electus per deus. We will focus on confirmed timelines, mechanisms of control, and the ethical boundaries of coverage. Narration generated with AI, facts verified from public sources. No legal advice is given. The purpose is education and public safety. If you have a case tip or a documented pattern to share, use a safe channel and remove personal information that could identify non-public individuals.